shine, shine, Las Vegas, shine your light on me.
Welcome to Las Vegas Tonight. Join award-winning host Dale Davidson as he interviews the most remarkable people you'll find in the entertainment capital of the world. You'll meet entertainers, sports figures, newsmakers, community and business leaders, and people just like you with stories that'll touch your heart. Now, here's Dale Davidson.
Welcome to Las Vegas Tonight. I'm your host, Dale Davidson. Each and every week at this time, we do our very best to bring you interesting and exciting guests, fascinating even, and we've done it. We've outdone it. We've outdone ourselves. We have Dr. Kevin Leman, my friend, an author, a speaker, a child psychologist, a humorist, a wonderful guy. Thanks for joining us.
Good to be here, Dale.
Yeah.
We go back a few years, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that. 91 or 2 was when you were first on my general interest radio talk show in Tucson, Arizona.
It was always fun. That was a pleasurable stop every time.
Yeah. What happened, and I was telling our friend Bob DeMoss last night, that what happened was, you know, it's a secular station, and we did general interest talk, political talk, sports talk, you know, all that kind of stuff. And the guys on the FM side had been having you as a guest on a regular basis in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
Remember those guys?
Yeah.
They were hilarious.
Yeah.
And they said to me, you got to put Kevin Leman on. He's going to just blow up your phones. And it was true. The minute you came on, bam, the phone started ringing.
I still do those guys.
Do you?
They've reappeared, reinvented themselves in Phoenix.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And I still keep in touch.
Oh, they're
it's
great
amazing.
guys.
Yeah.
They're great guys. Let's talk a little bit about your early life in Buffalo, New York, or near Buffalo, New York.
Yeah, Williamsville, a little suburb outside of Buffalo. We were a poor family.
Yeah.
Irish Catholic father,
Yeah.
Protestant mom. She dragged me to church as a kid. I was a handful. My older sister was perfect.
Of course.
Still is.
That's the way they are. I have one of those.
Yeah,
too.
she lives in a place called Jamestown, New York.
Oh, I know where that is.
Western New York. And
Yeah.
you come to her home, and the first thing that greets you is the clear vinyl runner. Welcome to our home. Just stay on the clear vinyl runner, and everything will be fine.
And while you're at it, take your shoes off.
Yeah, so she's the firstborn that puts newspaper under the cuckoo clock, just to be sure. And, you know, got straight A's in school. She was about as perfect a sister. I mean, I love the girl to death. And she was the captain of the cheerleaders. And, of course, she brought her little brother, me, to be the mascot of the Billies. I was a little billy goat and used to do cheers. And, you know, I wrote a book about early childhood memories once. And one of my early childhood memories is doing this cheer. Basket, basket, score, 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 Williamsville Central, we want more. And I screwed up the hand motions, and I remember freezing and feeling embarrassed that I didn't know what I was doing. But the clear part of my memory, and again I wrote a whole book on this, was looking up in the sea of faces. And back in those days, the whole town would come to the local basketball game.
Yeah, there was not a lot going on.
Yeah, exactly. And I can clearly remember looking at everybody pointing at me and laughing. But I remember thinking, as a 7-year-old kid, this isn't so bad. And I remember, I mean, being with Regis, or I was part of Good Morning America team back in the mid-90s when Joan London and Charlie Gibson were the hosts. And my litmus test was always, can I get the lighting guy, the audio guy, the staff to chuckle and laugh? And if I could, I figured I was communicating with people. So, so I grew up in a very modest home, youngest of 3 kids, graduated 4th in my class in high school. Unfortunately, it was 4th from the bottom. There were 3 guys in woodshop.
Ulysses Grant had the same experience, so don't worry about it.
But Grant got on the $50 bill, didn't he?
I think that's right.
Yeah, I didn't. So I was a kid that my high school counselor told me, Leman, with your grades and your record, I couldn't get you into reform school. And he was right. I had SAT scores. This is hard to beat. If you have any fundamental knowledge of math, follow me on this one. I got on the 0 percentile on the SAT, which meant 100% of the people who took the test nationally did better than me. Let me tell you how you do that. I took it at the University of Buffalo on a Saturday morning.
Right.
It was so cool because they let you smoke cigarettes
Sure.
in the college classroom.
Wow.
How cool is that? So I have my Salem cigarettes with me. I'm thinking, man, this is cool. And I'm looking at that test. I'm going, whoa, what's this is math. What's the letters doing on there? I don't understand what that's all about. You know, so
Guessing you would have done better.
I answered a few questions, blew it off, went home, watched the football game, and that's how you get 0 percentile. So I was a screw-off, Dale, from the time I was a little guy, and I finally got into college on probation, eked out a C- average. Proof of the living God, by the way.
Oh, yes.
And as you know, my life changed, but I didn't know God at that time. My life was just about me, and a miracle after miracle. I met my wife. She was the trigger that turned my whole life around. I met her in the men's restroom of a hospital.
I got to hear this.
I was a janitor at TMC.
Ah, okay.
And I had scoped her out in
Tucson Medical Center.
in the hallway one day, and I said, man, that is a chick. And I found out what unit she worked on, gave another janitor $5, which was a lot of money in 1964, to introduce me to this hot chick.
She is a good-looking woman.
She still is.
Yeah.
And
you tricked her, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. And she walked in, our eyes met. I said something stupid. I asked her if she wanted to go to the World's Fair with me. I mean, I'm making $195 a month. Would you like to go to the World's Fair? I got 2 free first-class tickets here. Let's go. I'll get a limo. We're on our way, darling. And we were, I mean, looking back, I was so stupid. And I took her to McDonald's, was our first date.
Oh, how impressive.
Yeah.
15-cent burger.
Yeah. You know, recently I took her to a really nice restaurant. It
What
really
was
ticked me off because she ordered the most expensive thing on the menu.
Sure.
She ordered the Grand Slam. No, I digress. Excuse me for even saying that. But anyway, you know, I fell in love with her. We're dating about 3 months, and she pops the question.
Really?
Yes. She says, would you like to go to church with me?
Oh, that's the question.
And I remember thinking, holy...
and you're like 20 at this point, right?
I'm 21 at the time.
Okay.
Would you like to go to church with me? And I'm thinking, holy
I have to do
cow,
this?
she's one of those.
Yeah.
And so I lied through my teeth, told her I'd love to go to church, went to her church, thought, this is, nothing's, you know, no chick is worth this, I'm telling myself.
Yeah.
Then she wanted me to come back at night.
On a
Well,
Sunday.
Buffalo, New York, where I grew up, you went to church on Saturday night or Sunday morning, you said a few things and you were gone.
Yeah, 45 minutes, you're out the door.
So why do I have to come back? I didn't do it right? But that was my appointed time. Now, I'm here today. I've authored 54 books.
I know you
So
have.
something has happened in my life.
Yes.
But it started that Sunday night when that pastor was talking about this guy. And I tried to avoid the sucker. Every time I looked up, he's looking at me. I can still see his big brown eyes looking at me. And I remember the beads of sweat.
He's talking about me.
Well, he's talking about me because he was talking about the guy who knew who God was.
Right.
You know, but God was this way off figure. And see, my mother, God rest her soul, she dragged me to church, and I knew all these stories and stuff.
Sure.
And I got more and more uncomfortable. And everything that happened, all I can tell you was a supernatural evening because I really didn't want to do what I did. And what I did was said, okay, I don't know where this is going, but okay, I'm yours.
You accepted Christ at that meeting.
I did. And it was sort of on a contingency that something's going to happen here because I'm not sure, you know, it was that kind of thing. But I walked out feeling clean and new and renewed for the first time in my life. Again, Lemans were poor people, so I continued to work full time, went to school full time,
Right.
And got on the dean's list the very first semester I became a believer. And God provided in such a miraculous way because they actually paid for my education from that point forward, all the way through graduate school.
The college gave you a full scholarship.
Yes, so I got all 3 degrees at the same institution, ended up being a dean of students at the University of Arizona. So the irony was, a dean of students threw me out of school in Chicago for simply stealing the conscience fund, which I implore you was just a college prank. It was very funny.
Had nothing to do with the money.
What could be more funny than stealing the conscience fund because somebody else stole something else? I thought it was very funny. The dean of students didn't think it was funny. So 10 years later, I was a dean of students.
That's hilarious.
And so God took me on a... I always tell people, there's a lot of paths in life. Look at your life. Look at the paths you've taken.
Oh, yeah, it's incredible.
We've all taken different paths in life, and when you trust God, you know, you're not sure where that next path is going to lead to, but He led me to things I never thought I would ever do. I mean, write a book? You're kidding me. Me? And I used
You had no desire to ever write a book.
I was teaching at the university. People say, you ought to write a book, you ought to write a book, you ought to write a book. So I tried to write a book. I tried. I mean, I submitted it to 4 publishers, and 3 of them wanted to publish it.
Yeah.
And I got a $2,000 advance, and I thought I had died and gone to heaven. Well, since then, I got $1 million advance. I mean, I've written some good books.
I know you have.
And
a million seller, for example.
But I never thought that would happen. And, you know, 5 kids later, 1 great wife, grandchildren. I mean, look at me. I'm old. I'm near death. Let's talk. Okay, it's almost over. But it's been a great ride because I've been able to impact people's lives in a fun way. And for a lot of people, hey, lighten up. Okay, you're not ever going to be perfect. When you understand how imperfect you are, then you can make a difference in people's lives. Don't tell me about all the great things you did. I'm more interested in the things that you screwed up in life, Dale Davidson, and what did you learn from it? And so I'm a teacher at heart. I'm thankful I had a mom and dad who loved me despite myself, sister and brother who loved me anyway, because I was a pain in the butt. I was a little brat,
I was
show
too.
off.
Yeah.
You know,
Back in Cleveland, Ohio, right near Buffalo.
Yeah, we drank out of the same lake.
That's right, exactly.
That Lake Erie water, you can't beat it. Once you get through the oil in the Cuyahoga River, you know the water's pretty good.
And the mercury and the fact that the Cuyahoga River burned down once.
The dead fish.
How does
you
a
get
fire?
used to it.
Yeah, how does that happen? We're not exactly sure how that
Here we
happened.
are in the desert.
Yeah, so you're at the University of Arizona. You're the dean of men, right?
I was the dean of students.
Yeah, dean of students. Yeah. And at that point, you've written this book. The Birth Order book was your first book, right?
That came out in 1985, back in Phil Donahue days.
Wow.
That was my 5th book, actually.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah.
And that's the one that hit, and that's the one that made your name.
It did in many ways, and yet the book before it has sold 1 million copies.
What's the book before
Making Children Mind Without Losing Yours.
Oh, yeah.
It not only sold well in the Christian marketplace, but the biggest publisher in the world published it as well.
Oh, is that right?
On the secular side. So,
wow.
My books don't, you know, I'm not into beating people over the head. Jesus never beat anybody over the head. I never appreciated people who are
He told parables, and he sat down and told stories and hung out with his fishing buddies.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's exactly what the man was like.
Yeah, and they were dumb as mud. They didn't get it.
That's right. That's whenever I feel especially humbled by the fact that the Lord has chosen me to send the gospel over the Las Vegas Valley and the Strip, because it's almost funny. I think about those fishermen. You know, it's just
they were fishing all night, okay? And this dude shows up on the shore.
Yeah.
And he says, now I'm a fisherman, okay?
Yeah, right, I
I'm
know
fishing all night, I get skunked, okay?
Yeah, right.
And some dude shows up and he says, hey, throw your nets over on this side of the boat. I'll tell you what I'd tell him to do, and it wouldn't be able to go across, even on these airwaves, across Las Vegas.
That's right.
They wouldn't allow it.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's what faith's all about.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. We're going to talk some more about faith. We're going to talk about Dr. Kevin Leman and some really terrific stories this man has. You're going to want to stick around. There's much, much more on Las Vegas Tonight. Please come back right after this.
You have a dream. A dream to start a nonprofit organization. You're ready to go, but the 501c3 application process looks daunting. You need someone who is experienced. Someone you can trust, someone to guide you at every step. Only a phone call away. Dreams meet 501c3 Go. Everything you need to successfully get through the 501c3 process. Incorporation, plus your 501c3. Ongoing consultation, final IRS approval. A Harvard lawyer, fast turnaround. You're ready to go. So, go to 501c3go.com. For a $100 discount, use the code VEGAS. To speak directly to an attorney at no charge, call 800-293-7490. That's 1-800-293-7490. Again, that's 501c3go.com. Let's go.
And welcome back to Las Vegas Tonight. I'm your host, Dale Davidson, with a terrific guest, Dr. Kevin Leman. We hope you didn't miss the last segment. And if you did, you can go to Dale Wynn Davidson on YouTube and rewatch it. Let's talk about all of that. You know, you've got a podcast now.
Yeah.
You're not only selling books, but you sell ebooks, right?
Yeah, my kids are the ones that tell me, Dad, you got to have a podcast.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you the straight skinny. Dad, you got to have a podcast, okay?
Right.
What do I say to them?
Just say, oh, what's a podcast?
What's a podcast?
Yeah, that's the first
you
question.
can read my mind.
Yeah.
I said, what's a podcast? Dad, they're really easy to do. So I have a guy in Portland, Oregon who calls me, and
you got a little camera.
I simply say, what's the topic? Mm-hmm. He's got letters from people.
Right.
We just started last year, but we're almost up to 1 million downloads.
Wow.
So they're free to people.
Wow.
Where I'm talking about life, sex. I talk about Mr. Happy, what makes Mr. Happy happy, how come he wakes up happy in the morning, how come he's sad at night when his wife says not tonight or tomorrow or next week because I'm mad at you.
Yes.
So they're very practical kinds of things that anybody who's married, whether you're single, married, in a relationship, have kids, or going it alone in life. I mean, I think there's things in it for everybody. And they're 20 to 25 minutes long. They're free, and people get them on my website, which is Birth Order Guy, G-U-Y, Birth Order. I'm the Birth Order Guy.
Famous for that.
birthorderguy.com.
Okay.
/ and podcast, and you pop up on them, and they're entertaining and fun, and we get tremendous response from a lot of young moms and dads, and young people today live on the cell phone.
They sure do. Yeah,
I mean, they don't read newspapers anymore. It's us old guys that sit there and have a donut and read the paper.
Yeah, my kids think it's amusing that they get the newspaper.
Oh, we're antiques.
Yeah, that's right.
We're dinosaurs.
Yeah,
death is coming. Be careful how you live your life.
That's right.
So, I've got into podcasts, and I've been teaching parents for years about rearing children. Mm-hmm. And the sad thing today is this young generation that's raising kids today, I mean, to be kind, they're clueless. Mm-hmm. They have no idea about the fact that kids today are brought up to feel like they're the center of the universe.
Right.
We give them far too many things way too early in life. And then
they win too many awards they didn't earn.
Oh gosh, yes. We blew smoke their way for anything.
Yeah.
The least effort they give, and we're over the top. Mm-hmm. On top of that, there's something called false praise. Now, I'm not even big on praise.
I know you're not.
I say praise God, all others pay cash.
Yeah, that's right.
But let me give you a real life example. I'm sitting there having a cup of coffee, reading my newspaper, and I'm in a Coco's restaurant.
Right.
And they have a full page article in the life section on false praise. And show you how vain I am. I said, I'm in USA Today again.
My name's going to be in
My name's going to be in this one. So vain as I am, I start scanning the article.
Leman pops up.
Leman, and it's not in there. That really made me mad. Somebody ripped me off again. I've been talking about false praise for years. So anyway, they use as an example baseball. Believe it or not, this is the body of a former athlete.
Yes.
I was a baseball player, and they use Little League as an example.
Right.
And this little kid threw 3 straight pitches over the plate and strikes this little sucker out.
Right.
He never even lifts the bat off his shoulder.
Sure.
Okay?
Sure.
The young parents are screaming, "Great at bat, Matthew, great at bat. I got
great eye.
I got news for you, little loser, Matthew. It was a lousy at bat. You paid." You didn't even try. Well, don't send me a nasty email about calling the kid a loser. That was just for your entertainment.
Right.
But the point is, the kid gives no effort, doesn't do a thing, and the parents are saying, great at bat. It wasn't a great at bat. What would have been helpful if Daddy Dale would have come over and said to son, you know, on a rough day at the plate today, but I'm going to be home early on Wednesday and Thursday night. If you'd ever want to have me throw batting practice to you, I'd be glad to. And so what I'm saying is, we've indulged kids to the nth degree. We've made them the center of the universe. Now, if you're a person of faith, and I realize there's a lot of heathens watching us right now.
That's right.
You're not a person of faith.
We hope that's the case.
But if you're a person of faith, and you bring your kids up to feel like they're the center of the universe, somebody pony up and tell me, where's the room for Almighty God in a kid's life? And I can answer that, and I'm not that bright. There's no room. So we don't teach kids, it seems to me, some of the basics. I'm in the school business now. We started charter schools.
Yeah. What a great legacy you've got going on. What made you decide to open schools?
A guy over a cup of coffee said, Kevin, have you ever thought about having a school? Would you ever like to have a school? I said, sure, I'd love to have a school, but how could I have a school? He said, you could have a charter school. I said, talk to me, Joe. And about 22 months later, we had a $20 million facility built with 425 students, and now we're 1,025 students a year later.
This is in Tucson.
But here's the key. We put, if Dale Davidson is a fourth grade teacher in Leman Academy of Excellence, in the fourth grade, in his classroom, Dale Davidson has full authority. What we do in education today
That's unheard of.
We throw the teacher in the classroom and say, oh, one more thing, before you start teaching, let me have your hands. And we what?
You can't say this, you can't say that.
Yeah.
You can't touch them, you can't do anything.
Yeah, well, we don't touch them. We, you know, we're smart enough not to go that way. But we know that kids, believe it or not, I hope parents are listening. Listen to me, parents. Your kids actually want to please you. They don't like it when you say to your kid, I'm very upset about what happened here. If a teacher looks at the kid and says, you know, Ronald, I'm very disappointed in that. You can do much better. That's discipline. Kids actually want to please us. So we've come up with what I call vitamin E, which is encouragement. And encouragement replaces praise. Now let me give you an example. Report card comes home from little Roberta. And little Roberta, the little firstborn, little Missy goody two-shoes type person, gets straight A's. Oh, straight A's. We are so proud of you, sweetheart. I'm calling Grandma and Aunt Martha right now. Oh, and here's $20. God bless you. Are the best daughter ever. That's not only sickening praise, but it's reward by flipping her a 20. Now, that's praise. Now, let me show you encouragement. Wow, 5 A's. It looked like all that hard work you put in, Roberta, really paid off. Congratulations. Wow, that's got to make you feel great inside. Fist bump. And you just saved $20.
That's right.
That's encouragement. And so it's the words we choose to use, and that's why Leman Academy of Excellence, when you walk into school, you see pictures of kids who are elected by kids in the classroom who are the encouragers of the month. So we teach kids that they're not the most important person in the world. They're not always taking selfies of themselves. I mean, it's crazy to hear a 9-year-old kid tell you, I got 181 likes this week. Jeez, I'd like to take that kid. Just one quick one.
Barnabas in the Bible is overlooked, isn't he? I think, you know, there's a guy that encouraged people. You know, and you know, there's Paul, you know, struggling, you know, trying to raise money, you know, trying to make it from point A to point B, and this guy says, you can do this.
Encourage one another. It's a basic principle. The word's good job. You're working with people, and you say good job. I do a lot of YPO speaking, Young Presidents Organization, and these are high-powered business people. And I love to teach them that, you know, business is all about relationships. I had an NFL head coach call me Saturday. Now, Saturday's the day they travel for the Sunday game. And I said to him, what are you calling me for? On Saturday, it's almost game time. He said, I always love calling you because you're the one that reminded me to put balance in my life. And I call it the balance beam of life. And it's great to be a winner. It's great to understand what pressure is on Sunday. Hey, win, baby. Just win. That's all it counts, is bringing home the W. But again, the people who are really successful in life that I've met, are people of quality. And they're people who understand that a football game is a football game.
Right.
And there's other things important in life beside that. And so the person who has balance is going to feel good about themselves. They're going to be a good provider. They're going to be a good husband, a good wife, a good father, a good person. And that's where we miss today. Everything is tinsel-like. I shouldn't even mention that term in Las Vegas, should I? But it seems like we've just forgotten from whence we came.
Yeah.
I think all of us would be smart to go and look at the old photo album that maybe Mom gave you and now you're the proud possessor of it. Look at your relatives and notice they weren't in Armani suits.
That's right.
They were pretty hardworking, motley crew in many ways.
Yeah, and the greatest generation truly was.
Yeah.
I mean, that they came through war, they came through depression, they came through everything imaginable.
I remember,
and they you know, birthed us. Go figure.
Yeah.
And you know, we wanted to make it easier for our kids, but I think in many cases we made a big mistake.
Oh, we've gone way overboard.
Yeah.
I still remember Lee Iacocca, the former head of Chrysler, saying he couldn't throw out a piece of steak. He had to put it in a baggie and put it in a refrigerator. And it goes back to the little boy or little girl you once were, you still are.
Sure.
And there's still a part of me with some successes come my way in life, but there's still that little boy in me that feels like I have to prove myself.
Oh, sure.
Because that's how I grew up, between my sister who was perfect and my brother who was near perfect.
Yeah.
And I love them to death, but
Sure.
I mean, in many ways, they wrote me off. Oh, don't worry,
yeah.
he's not going to do anything. He's just a funny little kid.
Yeah.
And it's sort of fun to get in that position where you say, wait a minute,
Remember me?
knock, knock, knock.
Yeah.
Here I
Remember
come.
me?
I can do some things too.
Yeah, yeah.
And so some of us are just, I think, born with determination. I think I wrote myself early in life, and I wonder how many people are watching us right now who've written themselves off in life.
Yes.
And they've told themselves the lie that they can't do it.
Yeah.
Who's holding you back? But step one is understand that you're here for a reason. You're just not a life that comes and evaporates into thin air. God put you on this earth for a reason. The question is, do you know your maker?
And the Lord can use anybody when it really comes down to it.
Can you drive down Interstate 15 and talk to the creator of the universe? If that's not cool, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
You mean...
At any point you can pray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for that light to go on, I mean, I heard that message all the time growing up, 21 years. In one ear and out the other. But one Sunday night, and this pastor looking at me, and my life did a 180, and it was like instantly turned around. God gave me motivation. I never looked back.
Have you personally led people to Christ?
Oh, yeah.
What's that like for you?
Well, it's amazing. As a speaker, I spoke in Tucson a while ago, and I had just stopped, and the pastor, and I was just praying for people. And the pastor's next to me, and he gives me the little edge. He says, Kevin, look at this. And there were about 25 people that came down in that service. In the second service, 55 people came down.
Wow.
And it's just fun to see people come to Christ and realize that I need Almighty God in my life. And the Bible says, well, if you want to come to the Father, Jesus says, you got to come through me. And so it's a simple acceptance that, Lord, I want you to come in. I don't know what this is all about. For a lot of people, they really don't know.
Yeah.
I think we need boot camps for Christians, because people come and they have this need inside to know there's a void in their life, and they give their heart to Christ. And I think a lot of people need that shepherding. They need that person to come alongside of them, and point them in the right way.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to share Christ. I read somewhere that 90% of Christians have never, even once, shared their faith with anyone. 90%.
What do you do when somebody uses the Lord's name in vain?
Generally, I don't say anything.
I say, oh, does he go to your church too?
That's good. I like that. I'm stealing that, by the way.
You can steal it, but you know, I tell parents you need pocket answers with kids.
Yeah.
Kids go, he touched me, he did this. There's a criminal offense. He looked at me. He looked at me, Mom. I mean, with kids, I mean, you have to understand that fighting's an act of cooperation.
Yeah.
You got to say to a kid, honey, I'm sure you can handle it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm always telling women, You think you are the communication guru of the universe. Listen to me. Your husband does not like it when you ask him questions.
Right.
We don't like questions. We don't like the Y word. Well, women are sort of offended. What do you mean it doesn't like questions? I want to know what his feelings are. If you're a typical male, hey.
Feelings? I don't have any of those.
We specialize in arm's length relationships.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Feelings, I'll see you later after the news. That's not what I had in mind, sweetheart.
Yes.
That's a whole other, I wrote a book on that
Yes.
subject too. Sex, I love sex.
We're going to talk about that when we come back.
I love sex.
We're going to talk about marriage.
sex?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, man.
And how it begins in the kitchen, I'm told.
I love sex.
There you go.
In the kitchen.
We're going to be back with Sex Talk and Dr. Kevin Leman right after these messages.
In la cocina.
You have a dream. A dream to start a nonprofit organization. You're ready to go, but the 501c3 application process looks daunting. You need someone who is experienced. Someone you can trust, someone to guide you at every step. Only a phone call away. Dreams meet 501c3 Go. Everything you need to successfully get through the 501c3 process. Incorporation, plus your 501c3. Ongoing consultation, final IRS approval. A Harvard lawyer, fast turnaround. You're ready to go. So, go to 501c3go.com. For a $100 discount, use the code VEGAS. To speak directly to an attorney at no charge, call 800-293-7490. That's 1-800-293-7490. Again, that's 501c3go.com. Let's go.
And welcome back to Las Vegas Tonight. I'm your host, Dale Davidson, with Dr. Kevin Leman, the world-famous family psychologist and friend.
Yeah.
An ex-neighbor.
I like you.
Yeah, I like you too. We teased him coming out of the break saying we're going to talk about sex.
Well,
Let's talk about marriage.
sex.
And you wrote a book called Sex Begins in the Kitchen.
Yeah, and I wrote a book called Sheet Music.
Yeah, sheet music.
Sheet
Yeah,
music.
like
the
sheets.
Musica de la Cama, huh?
Oh,
I mean,
yeah, yeah.
And it's a hottie. I mean, I talk about sex as it should be. Talk about kinky sex, not so good sex. Sex is an all-day affair.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, women are really created. This is sort of funny when you think about it. Women are created to enjoy sex much more than men.
Oh, yeah.
But women don't enjoy sex for a lot of different reasons, because most of us as men are really lousy lovers.
We're grabby.
As
We're
one
just
woman,
grabby guys.
yeah, we love to grab. There's not a woman in the world that says, "Oh, Dr. Leman, I just love it when my husband Harold just grabs me." I've never heard that yet. And I've never heard this. Dr. Leman, we've had a great sex life, but we're getting a divorce.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
a good
Yeah.
sex life
Yeah.
is worthy of working toward. And
Sure.
In sheet music, I walk people through what great sex ought to be. I mean, if you don't take a shower after sex, I got news for you. You haven't had great sex.
Mm-hmm.
And sex needs to be ASAP, as slow as possible.
Ah,
Because women, I mean, it'd take a woman 30 minutes to get vaguely in the mood.
right, yeah, yeah.
But that husband, that lover to that woman, he has to be like the great late Arthur Fiedler, the great conductor,
Right.
because all these things have to come together. So if you're one of those snarky men who gets sarcastic with your wife in the morning, and sometimes you think, well, after the 10 o'clock news, we're going to do the mattress mambo together.
Yes.
I got news for you. It ain't going to happen,
yeah, it
Jack.
ain't happening, yeah.
And if it does
yeah.
happen, it's really going to be bad.
Yeah, yeah.
So you have to understand that men are completely different. They get excited with a little,
The wind blows.
just a little.
That's all it takes.
A little. I remember my wife, God love her, she's washing the windows like this. And she's got a T-shirt on and Bermuda shorts, and she's on a ladder. And I'm just watching her, and I'm thinking about, this is so stupid, because all I'm seeing is her right breast just jiggling.
Just a little bit.
I'm telling you, I'm like a hungry dog looking at a T-bone steak.
And she has no idea.
No idea.
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
makes it all the better.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
I sneak up behind her.
Surprise!
And she wheels her head back and about takes my front tooth out. I remember that very well.
Oh, that's
but
hilarious.
there's some humor in this.
Yeah.
God was the original humorist.
Oh, sure.
When he said, the two shall become one.
Yeah.
Because we're so
is that
different.
ever going to happen?
We are so different.
Oh, yeah.
Women use 3.5 times the number of words that you and I use in a given day.
Actually, yeah, they do. Right?
We think about sex so many more times a day than a woman does. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
And yet God says, okay, I want you two to come together and I want you to become one. Well, the guy who's smart will say, honey, can we pray together? We got this problem in the family.
Yes.
Women love it when a man will take the lead, you know. And women, of course, know exactly the kind of spiritual leader the man has to be. They beat him over the head like baby seals, which never gets anywhere.
Yeah.
But, you know, sex and marriage, we diss it so many times. The average marriage lasts about 7 years and then you're done. And marriage is worth fighting for in a lot of ways. It's we find out all the research says that married people do a lot better in life, health-wise, and a lot of other ways. And I've been married for 49 years in a row.
Congratulations.
And the in a row part's the hard
To the
part.
same woman.
The same lucky woman, yeah. And I got her pregnant at 42. That was great. We had a little surprise.
Surprise.
But then we had the shocker at 48.
Wow.
Oh, when a woman gets pregnant at 48,
Wow.
there is no labor.
Did you do one of these?
No, that,
What did I do?
that was what it was. It was a sneeze. Achoo! What a beautiful daughter you got. I mean, one sneeze and they're there at 48. They just slide out. And so look at me. I'm near death. I'm on Social Security. I got a 23-year-old. So what I tell you.
That's great.
But, you know, I think marriage ought to be fun. And anybody who's married, you got to remember this. The kids are always watching you. They're taking notes.
Sure they are.
And whether it's the firstborn, you know, the firstborn is the one that's sort of closest to the marriage. So whatever's going on that's not good, the
They sense
firstborn
it.
is going to get the
Yeah.
brunt of it.
Yeah, yeah.
And speaking of firstborn,
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit.
we had an election here, okay? The 17 Republicans that were running,
Yes.
okay? The 17, 14 of them were firstborn or functional firstborn children.
That's no accident,
So
is it?
firstborns will always rule. Firstborns will always get more of the limelight. They're the movers and shakers. And I guess the rest of us just sell newspapers on the corner or whatever. But
You're a baby, right?
I'm a baby.
Yeah, yeah. I'm a functional firstborn, as you say in your
Yeah.
book, the birth order book, because I have an older sister,
Yeah.
and girls are treated differently by the parents,
Right.
And so they kind of start over with the boy, and she's 5 years older than I am.
And the
Yeah.
birth order book has just been it's been a fun book to talk about for years. I revised the book in 2009, about 70% new material because how families have changed.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The typical classroom in a public school, 29 kids in there, and 23, 24, 25 of those kids will come out of single-parent homes or divorced homes.
Yeah,
It's just the way it is. But
I'll tell you, it works though. My wife told me once that my middle son was inside the house and I was out in the patio talking to my eldest. And then she heard him say to my youngest at the time, well, he's out there talking that Kevin Leman stuff again.
how embarrassing. I tell parents, I tell kids all the time, I said, you kids hate my book, have a new kid by Friday, but your parents love it.
Oh yeah.
But, you know, kids today, it doesn't take much, parents. You need to get on the same page, use what I call reality discipline, let reality become the teacher to the child, and don't let kids work you. They'll work you like a violin.
Oh yeah. I got a bonus son, as I told you, in my second marriage, and he was strong. He was a very strong character. And as I've told you, we ended up being the best of friends. But he was the culmination of what I call the mother curse, because my mother said, "I hope you get one just like you, just like you." Yeah. And I didn't with the first three. You know, they were pretty well behaved, and they got good. They went to private school. They were, and this one came along, and he was just like me. But what I
Well,
learned...
the kid that's most like you is the kid you're going to do battle with.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And then
yeah.
you've got this other phenomenon where it's daddy, daughter, mother, son.
What's that about? I recognize
Mommies
that. Yeah.
imprint sons big time. And that's
Okay.
why they never take any, to put it bluntly, crap from their kid.
Right.
Ever.
Yeah.
Because they represent all of womanhood. There's enough men who've taken advantage of women over the centuries.
Right.
It has to stop. If it's going to stop in a healthy way, the best way to stop it's in the home.
Yeah.
So daddies...
But the ones you have some authority over.
Yes, so daddies
Yeah.
impact daughters big time. And so the words that the dad uses with a daughter sets her up for all kind of pluses in life. You represent all of manhood. So you treat your daughter with respect and kindness. I coached 1 year girls basketball. Now, I'm here to tell you.
That's an experience,
Is
believe
that-
me. I know. I
Oh,
did
is
Little
that-
League for 7
Oh,
years.
my goodness.
That's painful.
I'll never forget, we were coming into a timeout, and my center looked at me and she said, number 22 scratched me. I looked at her and I said, what am I, your mother? Well, apparently that wasn't the right thing to say, because she ran to the locker room crying. Of the 5 kids, 3 of them could play basketball. The 2 of them were out there, I'm not sure why.
Yes.
Because we had to have 5 on the court.
Right.
But when this incident happened, the other 2 girls went to give comfort and counsel.
And you had no players out
I'm in a
there.
30-second timeout. The ref comes over and says, Leman, get your team out there. I said, I got
They're
these,
crying.
I got these 2, and I got these other 4 on the bench, and none of them can do anything. I said, they're having an issue in the woman's room. But that's what it is. I mean, I've got 4 daughters, 1 wife.
So you know.
I know the smell of estrogen,
Yeah.
I'll tell you.
Yes.
It's overcoming.
I had the absolute opposite. I used to say to my wife every now and then, how do you like living in a locker room? Because that's
yeah.
exactly what it was like. And
Yeah.
it smelled like it, too.
Yeah.
That's no criticism of her, by the way. I want to sell your books here. Can we do that a little
Yeah,
bit? And
they're
then we'll
good
get back
books.
to some other
Yeah.
things. Talk about the birth order book first.
It's a great book. If you're a business person, you have to understand business. In business, people do life differently. A firstborn is going to buy a car, for example. You have some car sponsors, right, on your
Yes,
show?
uh-huh.
The firstborn is going to buy a car. They're going to read Consumers Report. They're going to read Car and Driver. They'll know more about it than some of your salesmen, okay? The baby of the family walks on the car lot. Shazam! Do you have a teal green one? I'll take it. They buy completely different,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah,
So
yeah.
this is a book about only children, firstborns, middle and youngest, and there's parts of it about why you are the way you are, how it applies to marriage, how it applies to parenthood. Next book is, what's that, Planet Middle
This
School.
one is Planet Middle School.
These guys get weird about age 11, and they really get weird these days.
Yeah.
And I try to equip parents with how do you handle just typical things like slam doors. All of a sudden the kid's full of himself. And most parents would say, hey, don't you be slamming the door in this house, young guy. You find yourself another place to live. Or you want something to cry about? I'll give you something to cry about. Well, there's your traditional answer.
Right,
I
right.
say things like, excuse me, honey, I'm not sure what that slam door meant. Does that mean you're sick of living in this 4-bedroom home with premium Wi-Fi? Just checking. Will you be joining us for dinner? You know, I mean, and have a new kid by Friday.
Yeah,
A New
yeah.
York Times best-selling book,
Yeah.
sold like crazy. And I try to remind parents that you just keep the ball in the proper court, okay? You have a battle with a kid getting him up for school every morning, leave him home.
Yeah.
Don't wake him up. When he finally gets up, you got to write a note. Let me help you write the note. Dear teacher, dear principal, Buford has absolutely no reason to be late to school today. He chose to sleep in. Feel free to do whatever you do to kids who are legally tardy. Love, Mom. And a kid, 4-letter word you, Mom, and he's the starting end on the football team. I'd call the administrator and the coach and say, my son does not have permission to play in that game tonight. So the book is designed to hit kids, whether they're teenagers or younger kids, where it hurts. It's a no-nonsense way of rearing kids.
Let me ask you a question before you leave the
Yep.
Planet Middle School. Girls grow up faster than boys,
Right.
typically. They seem to have more self-confidence. They seem to be doing a much better job in school and relationally, just in general.
Yeah.
Then they hit middle school. What the heck happens? All of a sudden there's insecurities. There are problems with other girls. There's a lot of arguing that goes on. I've just something that I've noticed, and is it
well, not to sound
puberty?
sexist, but
Yeah.
you get a bunch of women together. I mean, I had 8 secretaries at the university. If
Right.
it wasn't one, it was the other.
Yeah.
Dr. Leman, could I talk to you for a second? And stupid me, I'd invite him in and sit him down, close the door. 40 minutes later, I wondered what I was doing here.
Right.
And I finally got it. You know, when she'd come in and complain about somebody else, I'd say, hey, I'm so glad you're bringing it to my attention. Not 40 minutes later, 40 seconds later, I'd take her right over to this other secretary's desk. I'd say, Mary Ellen, Alice has something to tell you. Alice? Oh, well, it's no real big thing. I just, you know. And so what I try to do is show
funny.
people,
That's
in the
funny.
Leman books, in the Have a New Kid by Friday,
Yeah.
if you're an employer and you have a problem with an employee, I can show you how to handle the 4-year-old, the 9-year-old, the 13-year-old, and the 29-year-old.
Wow.
And to keep the tennis ball life, as I like to say, in the proper court. So it's the words you choose to use that make a behavioral difference, not only in yourself, but in the people you work with, the people you love, the people you want to be an influencer of. So this is not rocket science. Anybody can do this. Again, you're listening to a guy that, you know, a lot of people wrote off in life. I'm not the brightest bulb on the tree either. I have my own, I'm of average intelligence. I'm not super intelligent at all. I've looked at my own test results.
Really?
But I'm a guy that knows how to make complicated things rather simple. And if you can help people look at the complexities of life and do it in a step-by-step, simple way, then I think you can feel good about your contribution to mankind.
I would say that's crucially important. Let's talk about Have a New Husband by Friday.
One of my favorite all-time books.
Yeah.
Ladies, your husband has no friends. He's got associates. He has no one to talk to but you. But you had to have those, what do you call them? Children. Yeah, children. And once those children came along, he's out in left field looking in.
That's right.
Think of your husband as a 4-year-old that shaves. Okay? He's a simple person. He needs to feel needed and wanted by you. Do not put a skirt on him. He's not your girlfriend.
Right.
He doesn't appreciate your questions, and he hates the Y word. If you caught any of that, you're going to be a better wife in 10 minutes from now.
Yeah. You know, you mentioned when you were speaking, which you do a lot of, and you were speaking in a local church here, Southern Hills, is it?
South Hills.
South Hills Church Community.
Yeah.
A nice little church.
Yeah, it was a great church.
And you talked a little bit about, you know, the interrelationship between men and women and the differences. And one of the things that I found interesting, and there were many, was the fact that respect is overstated as a thing for men, and I always thought that was their #1 need, but you don't see it that way.
Ask Ben. You have men in this room. We'll ask him, you know, how high is respect? Would you rather be needed or wanted?
Oh, yeah.
No, a man who feels wanted will do anything for that bride.
Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah.
Respect is a part of it, but I think it's been blown out of proportion. People hang on the word respect and they build everything around that one word. I think it's a part of it. But if a husband feels needed, the smart wife who's got a husband who's in a dead-end job, he hates his boss, they don't make enough money, the smart woman says, honey, great news. The kids are going to be at Grandma's house tonight. And I just prepared some hors d'oeuvres that I'm going to be wearing tonight. See you later. I'm telling you, Dale, that guy's going to break speed limits to get home.
Oh, yeah, he is. Yeah.
And anticipation is as good or better than participation.
Yes.
When's the last time you looked your husband in the eye and said, I need you and I want you in my life? Again, a few strokes to that man, I'm telling you, he's like a seal.
Yeah.
And when
Doesn't
you say
take
something
much,
nice
does it?
about him,
Yeah.
you've thrown the 3-pound fish his way.
Yeah.
Oof, oof. We want to please our wives, and that's
Yeah,
a
we do.
message
Yeah.
that's in the wonderful book, Have a New Husband by Friday. Certain books are more fun to write than others, and that book and sheet music were clearly more fun to write than any of the others.
Yeah. You've done a great service for families over these years. I mean, you really have. You know,
Well,
we laugh and you know we
and laughter's
talk.
good. Try to make it
Which
fun.
is good.
It's not rocket science.
Yeah. But it's, you know, it's crucial, and we're in a crisis situation with families today, aren't we?
they're, you know, we're just losing it on every possible front. But, you know, marriage is still the safeguard for families. It's the best thing going. Not just living together, be married, have a unit, be on the same page. Are there troubles in marriage? Yes, there are troubles. But united we stand, divided we fall. And kids profit from the mundane, the predictable. And hey, parents, you can pull that off. You can learn to love your kids. Are there times you'd like to UPS your kid to Afghanistan or beyond? Yes, there is. We've all had those nights. But don't do it. It's very costly.
God bless you, man.
Hey,
thanks for coming.
Dale. Nice to be with
come
you.
Back
Thanks
again.
for what you do.
Come back again.
I'd love to.
I mean it. Dr. Kevin Leman, my pal, a great child and family psychologist, terrific author. People can check you out on
birthorderguy.com.
birthorderguy.com. God bless you all, and as always, I warn you all, please walk with Him. God bless you.
Drawn by the lights, glamour, and opportunities in Sin City, they come from all over the world, searching for their chance to be a pretty woman, a success, or maybe just to have a better life. Be somebody. What happened after they got here is literally changing the world. From the story of Tommy Scott, a former gang enforcer turned Christian evangelist, to the Hookers for Jesus Outreach Ministry, to the heart-wrenching story of Arturo Martinez and his heroic act of forgiving the man who assaulted and murdered his wife and 10-year-old daughter. Las Vegas Tonight presents an extraordinary depiction of Las Vegas as a city of transformation, from Sin City to Vegas Saints. Las Vegas Tonight, from Sin City to Vegas Saints, a collection of true stories of transformation, people whose lives were transformed, and people who are now transforming the world.
Hello, I'm Dale Davidson. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Las Vegas Tonight. Allow me to take just a few moments to let you know how you can learn more about some of the fascinating guests that I've interviewed. My new book, Las Vegas Tonight, From Sin City to Vegas Saints, is now available around the world. In it, I profile amazing people who make Las Vegas something much more than just a place to party. These compelling stories often tell of people who came to Las Vegas for reasons much different than the innovative ministries they ended up leading right here in Sin City. Take, for example, Tommy Scott, known as Hitman to his fellow members of an infamous gang in South Central Los Angeles. Tommy was serving time in a Las Vegas jail and contemplating suicide when a couple of pastors visited him in the lockup and led him to Christ. Tommy immediately began studying the Word and has become an on-fire evangelist and Christian author. Then there's Annie Meadows. Annie began life in a rural part of Kentucky, increasingly was fascinated with the occult, and eventually became a full-fledged witch. Rejecting anything having to do with God, she angrily vowed never to attend church or have anything at all to do with religion. Then, like Tommy, she had an encounter with the living Christ and now travels the world as a gospel singer and writes Christian children's books. Pastor Chris Chappell was an avowed atheist who also wanted nothing to do with the Lord. He was a successful businessman who felt he surely didn't need Jesus. His wife and father-in-law convinced him to attend church, and he felt a stirring that made him investigate the Bible's claims. Telling the Lord that he needed answers to his objections, he found those answers in a supernatural way and is now leading a remarkable church, Casa de Luz, in what's called the Naked City, which is a neighborhood just off the famous Las Vegas Strip. This formerly crime-ridden area is now experiencing a remarkable turnaround, and his church is serving that community in amazing ways. Doc Jones traveled to Las Vegas from New York on a personal mission to make as much money as he could. A born entrepreneur, he started a photography business that specialized in taking pictures of groups of partiers at the hot nightclubs on the Strip. He then learned that by referring young guys to the city's strip clubs, he could pick up lots of cash from the club's owners.
That evolved into sending young women who were wannabe strippers to these so-called gentlemen's clubs, and then he managed their careers. Eventually, he felt so empty and despondent that he too thought seriously of suicide. Hearing a sermon about the prodigal son caused him to dedicate his life to Christ. Now an exceptional musician and composer of gospel rap, hip-hop, and spoken word genres, he is helping change Las Vegas from a place where sin abounds to a city where grace abounds more. Pastor Clegg Seth was an aspiring actor and screenwriter in Hollywood and a strong Christian who wanted to make a real difference for Christ in the entertainment world. But the Lord called him to establish a crisis hotline for runaway teens who were coming to Hollywood to pursue their silver screen dreams. He then started halfway houses for men and women with substance abuse and other problems. He also helped set up a similar men's home in Las Vegas. At one point, he developed a gambling habit, but the Lord delivered him from that problem, and he now devotes his life to sharing Christ with men in prison, serving seniors in a church setting, along with visits to nursing homes and hospitals. He has continued his quest to influence Hollywood through a ministry called the Christian Studio. I personally really look up to Clegg Seth as a model of how a Christian should live and serve others. He truly is one of the Vegas saints. Read these stories and more in this 226-page book, Las Vegas Tonight, From Sin City to Vegas Saints. You can get your copy in several different ways. Go to my website, vegassaints.org, or order it on Amazon.com or BarnesandNoble.com. It's just $15.99 plus shipping. For more information or to make a donation to Dale Wynn Davidson Ministries that will help us keep this program on the air, please call 702-480-3989. Or you can write to us at Dale Wynn Davidson Ministries, 9030 West Sahara, Suite 255, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89117. And thank you so much for watching Las Vegas Tonight.
Potential audience of more than 50 million people is reached every week by Las Vegas Tonight. To keep the important message of Christ's love on the air, we need your prayers and financial blessings. Please send your tax-deductible gift to Dale Davidson Ministries, 9030 West Sahara Avenue, number 255, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89117. For a donation of $25 or more, we'll send you a copy of Dale Davidson's new book, Las Vegas Tonight, From Sin City to Vegas Saints. You'll love these inspiring stories of Las Vegas Christians who are changing the world. Or donate to the ministry, or order Dale's book by going to vegassaints.org. That's vegassaints.org. Or call us today at 702-480-3989. That's 480-3989. God bless you. You've been watching Las Vegas Tonight with Dale Davidson. Send your tax-deductible gifts to Dale Davidson Ministries, 9030 West Sahara Avenue, number 255, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89117. Or call 702-480-3989.
Welcome to Social Media Shows. Have you been watching social media shows recently? Of course you have. We have been live streaming for 4 years across social media platforms. We produce over 70 shows with over 1,000 episodes. In the process, we've helped over 100 creators realize their dreams and start their own show. We give platforms to promote your business. If you are an artist, if you have an event, if you are entrepreneurs, or if you have a story. If you haven't done it yet, go ahead and subscribe and follow us on major social media platforms. And if you have a great idea of a show, join us. Social media shows can help you produce and live stream your own show. Let us help you make your dream become a reality.
Hello, everyone. This is Joseph Skoda with Social Media Shows. Well, I thank all of you for your support through these last several years, and it's been a lot of fun. We've given people a voice they never had before. Now, Social Media Shows is always collaborating with our veterans to help them do things and help out the veterans who are struggling today. And we teamed up with GI Connections, connecting veterans with resources. So please consider helping and donating to this great cause because we're always doing things for veterans. So GI Connections, Social Media Shows, and you is what makes the world a better place. Once again, Joseph Skoda, proud United States Air Force veteran.